Introduction. You can say that you want peace while rehearsing conflict all day. You can say that you want abundance while making every decision from panic. You can say that you want respect while repeatedly abandoning your own standards. This is the practical meaning behind the claim that you do not attract what you want. You reinforce what you are consistently prepared to notice, choose, tolerate, and embody. In this audiobook, vibration is not treated as a laboratory measurement every time the word appears. It is a living language for state, attention, behavior, environment, emotional momentum, and inner coherence. Your vibration is the total signal you transmit through your thoughts, your body, your words, your choices, your surroundings, and your repeated reactions. Forget for a moment what you were taught about the world being only solid matter. You were told that your body is a biological machine made of flesh, bone, chemicals, and electricity. That is true at one level, but it is not the whole truth. If you look deeper, the body becomes cells. The cells become molecules. The molecules become atoms. And inside the atom, what appears solid dissolves into space, motion, charge, probability, and rhythm. A phrase often attributed to Einstein says that what we call matter may be understood as energy, whose vibration has been lowered enough to be perceived by the senses. Whether read scientifically, symbolically, or metaphysically, the principle is powerful. The visible world is not dead. It is patterned movement. It is rhythm appearing as form. You are not a stone thrown randomly into existence. You are a symphony of signals. If your life is out of tune, if your body feels heavy, if money feels blocked, if love feels distant, or if your mind feels full of noise, the question is not only what you want. The deeper question is, what are you broadcasting? The universe does not respond merely to what you say. It does not obey wishes spoken while the body trembles with contradiction. It responds to the total signal, your expectation, your emotional climate, your habitual posture, your inner speech, and the field you repeatedly reinforce. Attraction is not the primary law. Attraction is the secondary effect. Vibration is primary. When the base frequency changes, reality begins to reorganize around it, just as iron filings organize around a magnet. These are the 10 laws of vibration: the scale of consciousness, the patterning power of the word, entrainment, vibrational absorption, egregors, creative energy, circulation, integration, silence, and anticipatory gratitude. They are not presented so you can blame yourself for everything that happens. They are presented so you can recover the parts of your life where your agency is real. Your attention is an instrument. Your words are instruments. Your body is an instrument. Your environment is an instrument. Tune them and life begins to answer. Chapter 1. The scale of consciousness, the Hawkins map, and your calibration. Imagine being dropped into the middle of a dense, dark jungle. You are hungry. You are cold. You hear predators moving through the trees. Somewhere beyond that jungle, there is a golden city, a place of safety, abundance, clarity, and power. But there is a problem. You have no map, no compass, and no understanding of where you stand. So you walk in circles. You fall into swamps. You shout for help, but only the echo of your own desperation answers. This is how much of humanity lives. People seek happiness, wealth, love, purpose, and peace, but they do not know where they stand energetically. They do not know which direction raises them and which direction sinks them. They try to work harder. They manipulate, they force, they beg. But effort without calibration is chaos. A man can run with tremendous intensity and still move in the wrong direction. To master vibration, the first tool you need is not effort. It is a map. The invisible world is not random. It has structure, it has hierarchy, it has laws. For centuries, mystics spoke of higher and lower states, but those descriptions often remained vague. Dr. David R. Hawkins attempted to describe consciousness as a scale, ranging from the lowest states of shame and guilt to the highest states of peace, love, and enlightenment. Whether you read his work literally, symbolically, or as a spiritual model, the scale gives you a useful language. Every state has a consequence. At the bottom of the scale are states that collapse energy: shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, and desire. These states make life feel heavy because they bind attention to survival. Shame says, "I am wrong." Guilt says, I deserve punishment. Apathy says, nothing can change. Grief says, what I lost is greater than what I can become. Fear says, danger rules me. Desire says, I am incomplete until I get something outside myself. Many people confuse desire with power. They say, I desire money, I desire love, I desire health. But desire often carries the vibration of absence. You only crave what you believe you do not have. Desire can motivate, but it can also trap. If your desire is soaked in need, it broadcasts lack. The universe responds to the deeper signal, not the beautiful sentence placed on top of it. Near the threshold is pride. Pride feels stronger than shame, but it is fragile. It depends on comparison. I am valuable because I am above someone else. I am powerful because I have a title, a car, a bank account, a body, a reputation. Remove the external condition and pride collapses. Pride is not true power. It is insecurity wearing armor. The great turning point is courage. Courage is the first doorway out of victimhood. Courage does not mean you feel no fear. It means fear is no longer the ruler. At courage, life begins to open because you stop waiting for perfect conditions. You act, you decide, you take responsibility. Above courage, the energy changes. Neutrality says, I can remain calm even if circumstances shift. Willingness says, I am available to grow. Acceptance says, I stop fighting reality and begin working with it. Reason brings order, strategy, and understanding. Love is not merely romance. Love is an open field of benevolence toward life. Joy arises when the heart no longer needs permission to shine. Peace is the state where resistance has dissolved. The scale is not there so you can decorate your ego with a number. It is there so you can diagnose your state honestly. Do not ask, what level do I wish I were? Ask, what does my life reveal? Are your finances a constant struggle, or do they flow with increasing ease? Are your relationships full of drama, control, and fear, or do they support freedom and growth? Are you always tired? Are you always defending, proving, and explaining? Your external patterns often reveal your internal calibration. The first practice is simple. Stop feeding the states below 200. Cut the gossip. Cut the news that floods your body with fear. Cut the conversations that make you smaller. Cut the entertainment that teaches your nervous system to expect betrayal, scarcity, and humiliation. You cannot raise your vibration while eating vibrational junk every day. The second practice is service. The ego calibrates low because it is always asking, what can I get? The heart rises when it asks, how can I be useful? Service does not mean self-abandonment. It means your energy is no longer imprisoned in the small room of your personal anxiety. When you become useful, life begins to circulate through you. The purpose of studying vibration is not merely to get things. It is to become a clearer instrument. When you become clearer, money, health, love, and opportunity often move towards you more naturally because coherence is attractive. Light does not chase darkness. It simply shines and darkness disappears. Chapter 2. The Pattern of the Word. In many ancient traditions, creation begins with sound. Genesis speaks of the word. The Hindu Vedas speak of sacred vibration and the primordial syllable Om. Aboriginal traditions describe a world sung into being. Modern cosmology speaks of the universe beginning in a vast expansion, a primordial event whose echoes still ripple through space. Sound is not only communication. Sound is pattern, it is pressure, it is instruction. Your voice is not merely air passing through the vocal cords. It is a vibratory instrument capable of affecting your body, your emotional field, and the way your attention organizes reality. Most people use words carelessly, as if speech were disposable. They say, I am starving, I am destroyed, I am broken, I am sick of this will kill me. They speak as if the body is not listening, but the body is always listening. The subconscious is always listening. Your nervous system is always listening. Words repeated with emotion become instructions. To understand this, look at cymatics, the study of visible sound patterns. Swiss researcher Hans Jenny conducted experiments using plates, powders, and sound frequencies. When fine sand or powder was placed on a vibrating plate, sound caused the material to move into patterns. Low frequencies produced simple forms. Higher or more complex frequencies produced intricate geometries. circles, spirals, hexagons, mandala-like structures. When the sound stopped, the pattern dissolved. When the frequency changed, the pattern changed. The message is profound. Vibration organizes matter. Your body is mostly water. Your cells respond to chemistry, electricity, pressure, rhythm, emotion, and repetition. In this metaphor, your cells are like the sand, and your voice is one of the oscillators shaping the field. The words you speak with conviction do not simply vanish. They move through your breathing, posture, hormones, and nervous system. They become atmosphere. They become expectation. They become instruction. This is why affirmations can help when they are coherent and can harm when they are empty. If you say, "I am powerful," while your body collapses and your heart screams, "I am powerless," the signal is divided. But if your words, posture, breath, and feeling align, speech becomes a decree. You must understand the difference between descriptive language and creative language. Descriptive language merely reports the current state. I am broke. I am tired. Nothing works for me. People are cruel. Life is unfair. This language reflects what is and reinforces it. It takes the old pattern and casts it again. Creative language does not deny reality, but it refuses to worship it. It speaks from the desired order. I am reorganizing my life. I am becoming stronger. I am available to abundance. I choose clarity. I choose disciplined peace. I choose the next right action. This language begins to instruct the nervous system toward a new pattern. There are words you must remove from your daily vocabulary because they leak power. The word try often hides expectation of failure. I will try means I am preparing an excuse. Replace it with I will do it or I will not do it. The phrase I cannot afford it closes the field. Replace it with I am choosing how to direct my money or I am expanding my capacity to receive and pay. The phrase I am sick turns a temporary condition into identity. Say instead, my body is passing through a temporary condition and I am supporting its return to balance. Be especially careful with I am. Those two words are a gate. Whatever follows them becomes identity. I am poor. I am unlucky. I am broken. I am always late. I am bad with money. These are not casual phrases. They are self-hypnosis. Guard the gate. Say instead, I am learning mastery. I am disciplined. I am available to order. I am health in motion. I am wealth becoming visible. I am guided by clarity. Why do spiritual traditions warn against lying? Not only because lying is morally wrong, but because lying divides the signal. When you lie, your words create one reality while your body knows another. The nervous system must hold the contradiction. That contradiction creates friction. A divided signal weakens your command. Speak less but speak cleaner. Do not fill the air with complaint. Do not rehearse the future you fear. Do not bless your problems with endless description. If you must describe a problem, do it precisely and briefly, then speak the direction of correction. Every morning use your voice deliberately. Stand upright. Breathe. Speak with the tone of command. Say, I am the power that creates order in my life. I activate the frequency of clarity. I choose disciplined peace. I bless my body. I bless my work. I bless the path opening before me. I speak only what I am willing to strengthen. Your mouth is not only for narration, it is for creation. Speak your new world into existence and then behave in a way that proves you believed what you said. Chapter 3. The Principle of Entrainment. In 1665, the Dutch physicist Christian Huygens observed a strange phenomenon while studying pendulum clocks. Two clocks hanging from the same support began to synchronize their motion. Even when they were disturbed, after a time, they returned to a shared rhythm. This phenomenon became known as entrainment. Oscillating systems in proximity tend to synchronize. You can see entrainment everywhere. Fireflies flash in unison. Metronomes placed on a shared surface begin to align. The cells that regulate the heartbeat coordinate their electrical impulses. Crowds begin chanting in rhythm. People living closely together often begin to share habits, moods, and emotional tones. You are a biological oscillator. Your brain emits waves. Your heart has rhythm. Your breathing has rhythm. Your hormones have cycles. Your speech, posture, and attention create patterns. Therefore, you are subject to entrainment. You are not an isolated island. You are a tuning fork in a room full of other tuning forks. This is why environment matters more than willpower. A person may decide to become calm, disciplined, and abundant, but if they spend every day with angry, disorganized, complaining people, their nervous system will be pulled toward that rhythm. The body seeks energetic agreement with the group, because belonging once meant survival. Have you ever entered a room where people had just argued and felt tension before anyone spoke? Have you ever sat beside a deeply anxious person and felt your own body tighten? Have you ever spent time with someone peaceful and noticed your breathing slow down? That is entrainment. If your frequency is stronger and more coherent, you influence the room. If the room's frequency is stronger, it influences you. This is the law of the dominant frequency. The ordinary person overestimates personal will and underestimates field influence. They say, "I can handle it. I can spend all day in toxic environments and remain unaffected." But the nervous system disagrees. It copies. Mirror neurons simulate the states we observe. If you watch panic all day, your body rehearses panic. If you watch excellence, order, health, courage, and beauty, your body rehearses those patterns. This is why the people around you are not neutral. Your home is not neutral. Your phone feed is not neutral. The music you hear, the conversations you repeat, the rooms you inhabit, and the faces you study every day become part of your tuning process. If you want to change quickly, change your field. Clean your room, open the windows. Remove objects that carry the emotional residue of old identities. Fix what is broken. Clean your mirrors. Clear your desk. Give your nervous system evidence that a new order has begun. Turn your home into a high-frequency charging station. Use music deliberately. Some people prefer 432 Hz, others 528 Hz, others classical music, chants, or silence. The number matters less than the effect on your field. Choose sounds that make you clearer, steadier, and more alive. Curate your digital environment. Your feed is a temple or a sewer, depending on what you allow into it. Follow mentors, artists, thinkers, creators, and examples of the life you are building. Stop feeding your mind with humiliation, outrage, envy, and fear. Hack the algorithm so it shows you the world you want to become familiar with. If you are the most disciplined, most ambitious, most emotionally mature person in your circle, your growth will slow. You need rooms where your nervous system is challenged upward. You need people whose standards make your excuses uncomfortable. Proximity is power. But what if you cannot leave a certain environment yet? Then you must shield and dominate internally. Before entering a low-frequency room, breathe deeply and imagine a clear field around your body. Say silently, "Only what is useful may enter. Everything else returns to its source." Then become the dominant frequency by slowing your breath, lowering your voice, relaxing your face, and refusing emotional contagion. A coherent person is medicine. They do not need to preach. Their presence regulates the space. Become that person. Be the tuning fork that teaches the room a higher note. Chapter 4. The influence of what you absorb. Look at yourself in the mirror. You seem solid, but biologically, you are closer to a moving ocean than a stone. A large part of your body is water, and at the molecular level, water dominates the biological system. Your cells, hormones, proteins, and neurons operate within an internal sea. If vibration matters, then the question is not only what you eat. The deeper question is, what information do you absorb? Water is not merely background. It responds to temperature, pressure, minerals, movement, light, sound, and electrical charge. Research into structured water, including the work of Gerald Pollack on exclusion zone water, has suggested that water in biological systems may organize itself in ways that influence vitality and charge. Whether interpreted scientifically or symbolically, the lesson is useful. Your internal water is not separate from your state. When you are calm, grateful, and coherent, the body behaves differently than when you are panicked, ashamed, and inflamed. Your digestion changes, your immune response changes, your breathing changes, your posture changes, your internal chemistry changes. Your body is recording your life. Words spoken to you in childhood, emotions you never processed, environments you endured, food you consumed, music you repeated, and stress you normalized, all became part of the internal sea. To raise your vibration, you must become an alchemist of what enters that sea. Begin with the water you drink. Filter it when possible. Bless it before drinking. This is not superstition when understood as a state-shifting ritual. Hold the glass, breathe, say, "This water enters me as clarity, vitality, and light." The words are not magic because they impress the water like a machine. They are powerful because they impress you. They make you present. They make absorption conscious. Movement matters. In nature, water spirals, flows, falls, and circulates. Stagnant water dies. Move your body. Walk, stretch, sweat. Breathe deeply. Let the internal sea circulate. Then examine food. Conventional nutrition counts calories, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and micronutrients. That matters. But vibrational nutrition asks another question. How alive is this food? Fresh fruit, vegetables, herbs, clean water, sunlight, and living foods often leave the body clearer. Heavily processed foods often leave the body dull, heavy, and sedated. Listen to your direct experience. A meal is not only chemical, it is informational. Food carries the vibration of how it was grown, stored, prepared, and eaten. A simple meal prepared with attention can nourish more deeply than an expensive meal consumed in resentment. If you eat while angry, rushed, or afraid, you are not only swallowing food, you are swallowing a state. Before eating, pause. Look at the food. Ask, will this give me energy or take it away? The body knows. Sometimes it expands. Sometimes it contracts. Do not become rigid or fanatical. Rigidity lowers the field. Become sensitive. Bless your food. Give thanks. If you eat animal products, bless the life that fed you. If you eat plants, bless the earth, the water, the sun, and the hands that brought them to you. Gratitude changes the eater, and the eater changes the digestion. Fasting can also be a tool when practiced wisely. Sometimes the highest vibration comes not from adding more, but from removing what clogs the system. A short period of intentional simplicity can allow the body to reset. But fasting is not punishment. It is listening. It is purification. It should never become violence against the body. Also examine modern frequency killers. Excessive alcohol, constant sugar, toxic media, poor sleep, synthetic overload, and environments that keep the nervous system in alert. What you put on your skin matters. What you smell matters. What you wear matters. Natural fabrics may feel different from synthetic ones. Clean air matters. Sunlight matters. Silence matters. You are not what you eat in a simplistic way. You are what you absorb. And you absorb through the mouth, eyes, ears, skin, breath, relationships, and memory. Guard the gates. Your body is a temple because it is a receiver, a transmitter, and a recorder. Keep the temple clean enough for the signal to pass through. Chapter 5. The Law of Egregor's Collective Thought Fields and How to Protect Yourself. Have you ever watched an intelligent, peaceful person enter a football stadium, a political rally, or a crowd in panic and suddenly behave like someone else? Have you ever walked into a hospital and felt heaviness, or into a cathedral and felt solemn silence even before anyone spoke? Have you ever noticed certain fears, fashions, and ideas infecting thousands of people at the same time, as if a hive mind were directing the show? This is not only crowd psychology, it is the law of egregores. An egregor is a collective thought field created by repeated attention, emotion, symbols, rituals, and shared belief. The ancient occultists used the term egregor to describe an energetic entity generated by a group. Rupert Sheldrake has spoken of morphic fields. Vadim Zeland described pendulums. Use whichever language you prefer. The principle is the same. When many people think and feel in the same direction with intensity, a field forms. That field begins to influence the people who feed it. Every family has an egregor. Every company has one. People call it culture. Every religion, nation, sports team, movement, fandom, and market panic has one. An egregor can be benevolent or parasitic. A loving family field can protect, nurture, and strengthen. A cult, panic economy, extremist ideology, or fear-based media field can consume attention and drain life. What does an egregor eat? Attention charged with emotion. It does not care whether the emotion is love or hate. Devotion feeds it. Outrage feeds it. Fear feeds it. Obsession feeds it. The worst mistake is thinking you are free from an egregore because you are against it. If you spend all day hating something, talking about it, reacting to it, and organizing your nervous system around it, you are feeding it. This is why fighting a thing can sometimes strengthen it. To fight war with the vibration of rage, hatred, and domination is still to vibrate war. To bless peace, build peace, embody peace, and withdraw emotional fuel from the warfield is different. How do you know you are under the influence of an egregore? First, your thoughts feel repetitive and urgent. Second, your emotional reaction feels larger than the situation. Third, you feel compelled to post, argue, defend, attack, or convince. Fourth, you feel drained after engaging. Fifth, you find yourself using the exact language of the group without conscious choice. The moment you notice this, step back. Say, "This is not mine unless I choose it." Breathe. Refuse the hook. If a news story, argument, or collective drama tries to pull your energy, do not wrestle with it emotionally. See it as a pendulum swinging. If you push it with hate, it swings harder. If you stand still, it passes through empty air. Humor is lethal to negative egregores. Fear and anger are dense, heavy frequencies. Humor cuts the spell. A person who can laugh consciously cannot be fully possessed by collective panic. Compassion also protects you. If someone is screaming from inside a field of fear, you can silently recognize they are being moved by a field. This does not mean you obey them. It means you do not let their state become yours. Create positive egregores deliberately. A family can build a field of trust. A team can build a field of excellence. A study group can build a field of discipline. A spiritual circle can build a field of devotion. Repeated shared intention becomes architecture. Your attention is gold. Do not throw it into every collective storm. Invest it only in fields that make you clearer, stronger, wiser, and more alive. The egregores you feed become the invisible weather of your life. Chapter 6. The Discipline of Creative Energy. Of all the energies available to the human being, food, air, sunlight, sleep, emotion, and thought, there is one that stands above many others in intensity: sexual creative energy. It is volatile. It is magnetic. It can create life, destroy judgment, fuel obsession, or ignite genius. Modern society has trivialized this power. It has taken the force capable of creating a human body and reduced it to friction, entertainment, addiction, and momentary discharge. But the great traditions understood that sexual energy is not merely biological. In Taoism, it is associated with Jing, the creative essence. In yogic language, it is linked to life force. In the language of psychology, it is libido, the raw energy of desire, creation, and movement. When you feel sexual desire, you're not only feeling the urge to copulate, you're feeling the creative impulse of life moving through the body. Nature gives that fire for reproduction, but the conscious person can transmute it. The same energy that can create a child can also create a book, a business, a work of art, a disciplined body, a fortune, or a new identity. Napoleon Hill wrote about sex transmutation in Think and Grow Rich. He observed that sexual desire, when redirected, can intensify imagination, courage, willpower, persistence, and creative ability. The principle is simple. Do not waste the strongest fuel in your system on unconscious release. Learn to circulate it. This does not mean repression. Repression pushes desire into the shadow and makes it toxic. Transmutation means acknowledging the fire, respecting it, and directing it. The question is not whether you have desire. The question is whether desire owns you or serves you. Cheap dopamine is the great enemy of this law. Pornography, endless fantasy, compulsive messaging, validation chasing, and constant stimulation leak the creative field. They train the body to expect reward without effort, intimacy without presence, and pleasure without responsibility. The result is weakness, foggy attention, scattered energy, dull will, and hunger that never feels satisfied. The first practice is sealing the leaks. Remove the stimuli that hijack your desire. If certain apps, images, conversations, or habits turn your creative fire into compulsion, cut them. You cannot fill a gas tank while a hole is open at the bottom. At first you may feel pressure. You may feel agitation. That is not failure, that is fuel accumulating. Learn to remain with unresolved energy without immediately discharging it. Breathe it upward. Stand, move, train, write, build, make the sales call, record the lesson, clean the room. Create the thing. The second practice is circulation. When desire rises, do not condemn it. Place one hand on the lower abdomen and one hand on the heart. Breathe slowly. Imagine the heat rising through the spine into the chest, throat, and head. Then direct it toward a chosen goal. Say, this fire becomes focus. This desire becomes creation. This energy serves my purpose. The third practice is sacred relation. If you share sexual energy with another person, understand that bodies are not the only things mixing. Emotional fields mix, memories mix, expectations mix. Choose consciously. Casual unconscious exchange can leave energetic residue. Sacred exchange can recharge, heal, and amplify both people when there is love, respect, intention, and presence. At the moment of strongest pleasure, intention matters. If both people remain conscious and hold a shared vision, the creative force can become prayer, healing, and manifestation. If both disappear into unconsciousness, the energy is spent without direction. This law does not demand that you become a monk. It demands that you stop being a slave. A master of energy is a master of reality. Guard your fire, circulate it, and let it illuminate your work. Chapter 7. The Law of Circulation. In the geography of Israel, two bodies of water are fed by the Jordan River. One is the Sea of Galilee, full of fish, movement, and life. The other is the Dead Sea, dense with salt and unable to sustain ordinary aquatic life. The difference is not the source. The difference is circulation. The Sea of Galilee receives and releases. The Dead Sea receives but does not give out. This is the law of circulation. Energy has power while it moves. When it stops, it stagnates. Money is one expression of this law. In English, money is often called currency. The word points to flow, like a current in a river or an electrical current. Money is not only an object to hoard, it is a current to channel. A dollar bill has little value alone on a desert island. Its power appears in exchange. It moves, and through movement it becomes food, shelter, tools, art, education, service, and opportunity. Most people treat money like the Dead Sea. They obsess over the inlet, earning, receiving, accumulating. But they fear the outlet, paying, investing, giving, circulating. They clench the fist and wonder why the stream dries up. A closed fist cannot receive. Think of receiving as inhaling and giving as exhaling. If air is precious and you decide to inhale and never exhale, you do not become abundant in air. You suffocate. Exhaling creates the space for the next breath. The same is true with money, love, knowledge, and attention. This does not mean reckless spending. Circulation is not waste. It is intelligent movement. Saving from clarity is powerful. Hoarding from terror is poison. Investing in value is powerful. Spending to fill emptiness is leakage. Giving from joy expands the field. Giving from guilt drains it. Pay attention to how you feel when paying bills. Many people curse money as it leaves. They see the electricity bill as punishment, the rent as loss, the mortgage as pain. That pain broadcasts scarcity. It says, I am losing life when money moves. Change the ritual. A bill is not merely a debt. It is a receipt for something already received. The electricity bill means you had light, heat, internet, and comfort. The rent means you had shelter. The invoice means someone served you. Pay with gratitude. Say, thank you for the service. Thank you, money, for allowing me to complete this exchange. Go bless the one who receives you, and return multiplied. Ken Honda popularized the phrase arigato money, thank you money. The principle is simple. Bless money as it enters and bless it as it leaves. Money that leaves with resentment returns slowly. Money that leaves with gratitude returns with friends. Generosity must also be understood correctly. Giving is not buying approval. Giving is not rescuing people who refuse responsibility. Giving is not proving you are good. True giving is circulation from fullness. It says, I am a channel, not a prison. The law of compensation says that value returns to the one who gives value. In business, this means serve deeply, provide more usefulness than expected, solve real problems, raise the quality of everything you touch. Money follows value the way water follows a channel. Envy blocks circulation. When you see someone succeed and you feel bitterness, you close the door to that same success in your own life. Celebrate success wherever you see it. If another person buys the house, bless the house. If they receive the promotion, bless the promotion. If they live well, say good. This proves it exists in the field. I welcome my version. The person who circulates becomes a living river. They receive, use, bless, and release. Nothing stagnates, nothing rots. Their money moves, their ideas move, their love moves, their body moves. And because life loves movement, more life flows through them. Chapter 8. The Law of Integration: Shadow, Wholeness, and Hidden Energy. Imagine a beautiful house. The windows are clean, the garden is filled with roses. Classical music plays in the living room. The atmosphere seems refined and peaceful. But beneath the house, in the basement, locked behind 3 doors, there is a toxic dump that has been accumulating for decades. This is how many people live spiritually. They decorate the upper rooms with affirmations, crystals, productivity, smiling photos, and spiritual language, while the basement of the psyche is filled with anger, grief, envy, shame, desire, and power that was never integrated. This is the shadow. The shadow is not evil. It is everything you rejected in yourself because it was not safe, acceptable, or rewarded. As a child, you were a complete sphere of energy. You cried, laughed, wanted, shouted, created, and expressed without shame. Then, domestication began. Maybe you were told not to be angry, so anger went into the shadow. Maybe you were told not to shine, so brilliance went into the shadow. Maybe you were told not to be selfish, so desire went into the shadow. Maybe you were told not to be proud, so healthy self-recognition went into the shadow. Maybe you were too sensitive, too loud, too ambitious, too intense, too sexual, too curious, too much. So you cut pieces of yourself off to remain loved. But whatever is rejected does not disappear. It becomes unconscious, and what is unconscious controls you from behind the curtain. Repression consumes enormous energy. Imagine holding a ball underwater. At first it is easy, then your arm gets tired. The ball wants to rise. The more force you use to hold it down, the more energy you spend. Eventually, when you are stressed, drunk, exhausted, or triggered, the ball shoots upward and hits everyone around you. The law of integration says, stop fighting the ball, let it rise consciously, look at it, name it, understand it. Integrate its energy without obeying its chaos. Anger, for example, is not evil. Unconscious anger destroys. Integrated anger becomes boundaries, courage, protection, and decisiveness. Envy is not evil. Unconscious envy poisons. Integrated envy reveals desire. It says that quality you resent in another person may be a disowned possibility in you. There is also a golden shadow. These are the positive qualities you rejected because they made others uncomfortable. Beauty, leadership, intelligence, charisma, sensuality, wealth, spiritual power, artistic genius. If you admire or envy someone intensely, ask, what part of me have I projected onto them? The first practice of integration is dialogue. When an unwanted emotion appears, do not immediately suppress it. Sit with it. Ask, what are you trying to protect? What do you need me to see? What power are you carrying? You may discover that fear is trying to protect your survival, anger is trying to defend your dignity, and grief is trying to honor what mattered. The second practice is ownership. Stop saying, I am not like that. Say instead, that energy exists in me and I choose how to express it consciously. The person who denies their capacity for destruction is dangerous because the force remains unconscious. The person who knows their capacity for destruction and chooses restraint is truly moral. The third practice is embodiment. If you hid your voice, speak. If you hid your creativity, create. If you hid your strength, train. If you hid your tenderness, love. Integration is not only thinking about the shadow, it is giving the rejected energy a clean channel. When you integrate the shadow, your vibration rises because you stop being divided. Authenticity is high frequency. Wholeness is high frequency. A complete human being is an orchestra where the drums, violins, flutes, and thunder all have a place. Only when every instrument is allowed to play under conscious direction can the full symphony of life be heard. Chapter 9. Silence and the Recovery of Attention. Imagine you own the most sophisticated radio equipment in the world, a gold antenna, advanced amplifiers, and diamond speakers. Your goal is to tune into the abundance frequency, the station that broadcasts peace, intuition, million-dollar ideas, and divine guidance. You turn on the equipment, but instead of music, the speakers explode with crackling, static interference, and deafening white noise. Is the equipment broken? No, your brain and body are working. The problem is that too many signals are entering at once. You are receiving the signal of abundance, but you are also receiving the signal of news, gossip, advertisements, sugar, unfinished arguments, social media, collective fear, and your own compulsive thinking. The result is not a symphony, it is noise. Welcome to the law of silence and attention recovery. We live in the noisiest age in human history, not only in decibels but in information, stimulation, visual clutter, emotional interruption, and chemical reward. Your brain is bombarded by more stimuli in a single day than many people in the past received in weeks. This constant bombardment has a vibrational cost. It disconnects you from yourself. If you cannot be in silence, you cannot hear your own signal. If you cannot hear your own signal, you cannot tune it. The modern world has hacked dopamine. Dopamine is not simply the molecule of pleasure. It is the molecule of pursuit, anticipation, and more. Your brain once used dopamine to motivate you toward food, shelter, and connection. Now it is triggered by likes, scrolling, notifications, novelty, gambling mechanisms, outrage, and endless micro-rewards. Every spike creates a cost. The nervous system begins to require more stimulation to feel normal. Quiet feels boring, work feels painful, prayer feels slow, reading feels heavy, deep focus feels impossible. The person becomes a slave to distraction while calling it entertainment. Manifestation requires coherent attention. You must be able to hold an image, feeling, intention, and behavior long enough for reality to reorganize around them. But if your mind jumps from app to app, from fear to fantasy, from gossip to comparison, your signal becomes an incoherent scribble. Dopamine fasting is not about hating pleasure. It is about recovering sensitivity. For a period of time, remove artificial high-reward stimuli, social media, compulsive checking, junk food, pornography, gossip, sensational news, background noise, and unnecessary stimulation. At first you may feel restless. Your mind will tell you that silence is useless. It will demand one more look, one more scroll, one more message. Do not obey. That discomfort is withdrawal from noise. It is proof that your attention was being rented by forces that do not care about your destiny. After the first wave of discomfort, something beautiful happens. The ordinary world becomes vivid again. Water tastes better. The sky becomes interesting. A walk becomes medicine. Your own thoughts become audible. Your intuition starts speaking, because the internal room is finally quiet enough to hear it. Blaise Pascal wrote that much of humanity's trouble comes from the inability to sit quietly alone in a room. Learn to sit alone. At first you will meet boredom. Beneath boredom, you will meet anxiety. Beneath anxiety, you will meet grief, desire, and truth. And beneath truth you will meet God, or the deepest intelligence within you. Silence also sharpens intuition. Many inventors, artists, and mystics have used liminal states between waking and sleep to receive insight. You cannot access those subtle frequencies while feeding the nervous system with constant digital noise. You need quiet. You need slow breath. You need empty space. Create a daily silence window. No phone, no music, no speech. Sit, walk, or breathe. Let the noise settle like mud in water. Do not try to force visions. Do not demand answers. Clean the channel. The answers arrive when the channel is clean. When you clear the noise, your goals become sharper. You stop chasing 10 borrowed desires and recognize the one desire that is actually yours. You stop copying the world and begin receiving instruction from within. This is why great epiphanies often arrive in the shower, during a walk after prayer, or after a period of solitude. The signal was always there. You simply stopped drowning it. Chapter 10. The Miracle Frequency. We have reached the summit. We have explored consciousness, the spoken word, entrainment, absorption, egregors, creative energy, circulation, integration, and silence. Now we arrive at the frequency that bends time, Anticipatory gratitude. A miracle is not necessarily a violation of law. It may be the operation of a higher law that ordinary perception has not yet understood. A miracle is acceleration. It is the collapse of time between desire and manifestation. It is the moment when the path between point A and point B becomes shorter than logic expected. Most people use gratitude backward. They wait until the gift arrives, then they say thank you. That is reactive gratitude. It is polite, but it is not creative. Anticipatory gratitude says thank you before the physical evidence appears. It thanks the unseen as if it were already on the way. The ordinary mind lives in linear time. When I see the money, I will feel abundant. When the partner appears, I will feel loved. When the body heals, I will feel grateful. This seems logical, but vibrationally, it reinforces lack. If you are waiting to have it before feeling it, you are broadcasting that you do not have it. The higher law reverses the equation. Feel it, and the field begins to collapse toward the matching form. Do not wait for the world to give you permission to feel abundant, loved, guided, or healed. Generate the feeling now, not as fantasy, but as command. Quantum language tells us that possibilities exist as potential before they appear as form. There is a version of you that is abundant. There is a version of you that is healthy. There is a version of you that is disciplined, loved, creative, and free. The question is, which version are you observing with feeling? The heart is the magnetic center of manifestation. The brain can generate an image, but the heart gives it charge. Thought is the blueprint. Feeling is the magnet. When thought and feeling unite, the signal becomes coherent. This is why gratitude is so powerful. Gratitude is the emotional signature of possession. You do not genuinely thank for what you believe is impossible. You thank for what you recognize as given, arriving, or already real in the invisible order. Gratitude tells the body, it is done. Look at the example of Jesus before the tomb of Lazarus. Before the visible miracle, he gave thanks. He did not beg from uncertainty. He spoke from completion. He assumed the end before the beginning. That is anticipatory gratitude. Use the practice. Close your eyes. Choose one desire. See it as complete. Feel the relief. Feel the gratitude. Let the body soften as if the delivery has already been confirmed. Then say, thank you. It is done. I receive it in the perfect way, at the perfect time, in harmony with the highest good. Then stand up and live as the person for whom that reality is already true. Do not search desperately for signs. You are the sign. Do not dig up the seed every hour to see if it is growing. Water it with gratitude and move with dignity. Gratitude also transforms problems. Thank you for this layoff because something better is opening. Thank you for this ending because it is making room for a truer beginning. Thank you for this obstacle because it is revealing my strength. This is not denial. This is alchemy. You are taking the raw material of pain and forcing it to serve awakening. When gratitude becomes your atmosphere, time changes. Opportunities arrive faster. Coincidences increase. People feel drawn to you. Your speech carries weight. Your eyes become clearer. This is not random magic. It is applied spiritual technology. You have tuned your instrument to the orchestra of the universe. Gratitude is the miracle frequency because it is the vibration of completion. Use it daily. Use it before evidence. Use it during difficulty. Use it after receiving. Let every breath say thank you, and life will give you more reasons to say it. Conclusion. The final choice. The central lesson of the 10 laws of vibration is not that one thought controls every event. It is that unconscious patterns become powerful when they remain unnamed. The moment a pattern can be observed, it can be questioned. The moment it can be questioned, a different response becomes possible. You are not here to blame yourself for circumstances outside your control. You are here to recover command where your participation is real. The meaning you assign, the language you repeat, the people you allow near your field, the food and information you absorb, the energy you waste or transmute, the money you circulate, the shadows you integrate, the silence you protect, and the gratitude you practice before the world changes. Vibration is not a costume. It is coherence. It is not pretending to be spiritual while the basement of the soul rots in silence. It is tuning the whole instrument: body, word, attention, desire, environment, and action. Choose one situation in which you usually react automatically. Name the pattern without condemning yourself. Decide what a more conscious response would look like. Then practice that response in one small action today. A law becomes real only when it changes what you notice and what you do. The purpose of this journey is not to replace practical action with belief. It is to make your inner participation visible so that attention, language, emotion, and behavior become conscious instruments instead of invisible habits. You are the instrument. Your life is the music. Tune yourself and reality begins to answer in a different key.